We're going to look at a few stocks in here in this video. We're going to look at Apple in here first. We're trading up at 308, almost $4 up on the day from Thursday's close. IV ranking here is sitting at 31. We're above that big 300 cycle level. We're above the 305s. Now we're kind of focusing and flirting with that 310 area. We're going to see if we can get a nice push over that and a hold this week. If not, then look for some consolidation in here between the 300s and the 310s. What are we looking at here overall on this weekly chart? We can see we have our high in here of that 311.40 that came in this past week. Just a nice huge run in here ever since March. Just we haven't had a green day in about 2 months and some change in here. So you can see that we adjusted our overall structure to kind of correlate with those highs that came in last week. So we're going to see where our next candle starts to print and where it ends up. More or less anything above 311, we're going to be looking at nice whole numbers, kind of letting the chart kind of dictate what our resistances are going to be, just the usual. That's kind of the standard in here. And then to the downside, what are we going to be looking at? Well, we just mentioned those 305s and then 300s, but really the highs that came in a couple weeks ago, 303.20, that is going to be a spot for us. And then also the high that came in a few weeks ago, 293, are going to be levels that we're going to be watching as we start to come back down in here. Your RSI is elevated right now. You can see we're sitting at 72 on the weekly chart. So a little bit of top heaviness in here, a little bit overextension. So consolidation would be good for us in here. It would be healthy, but obviously let's just go for the ride and see how long this thing continues to just keep on climbing up. We're going to take a look at Amazon in here as well. You can see overall, more or less kind of the same thing in here as Apple, but actually we kind of got a pullback in here just a few weeks ago. So moral of the story is our overall structure. You can see our trend line in here. The candle never actually, or each new candle that we presented or made above that trend line, it never actually held the full candle above the trend line. It kept on cutting through. So that's why we left this overall trend line on. So you can see overall now our next resistances are going to be at that 268 and then right here at that upper trend line, that 270 area. So that's why we leave those trend lines on. They usually match up with nice psych levels, especially if the candles can't fully break out of them and then hold and then clear them as they go on to the next few weeks. But overall, Amazon actually red on the day where you had Apple kind of up. We are green on the weekend here, as you can see, though. But Amazon is trading at 266, down around $2 and some change from Thursday's close. IV ranking here is relatively low, 14, with only a $3 expected move being priced in by Tuesday's expiration, about $7 by Friday. So what are we looking at in here? Anything above that 270 mark that we just mentioned, we're going to be focusing on the highs that came in 278. To the downside in here, we're looking at 258 and then this 9-day EMA sitting right here, which is going to be right around that 252. And let's just chalk it up to a nice $2 channel. Anything between 252 and 250, just look for a little bit of support in there. If the 250s break, then just kind of scrap it, right? Where that's going to be our new ceiling. But anything below 252 to about that 250, you're going to kind of overshoot some supports in there. So just kind of keep that in mind. That whole channel is going to be a place for us to kind of suck up some more buyers, and then we'll see where this thing goes. But all in all, nice few months in here for Apple and Amazon. IV is relatively low, a little pullback in Amazon, whereas Apple, your IV is still a little bit elevated. It's relatively low compared to itself, but it's a little bit elevated overall, and it still is kind of pushing higher. So your RSI reverting back a little bit in Amazon, whereas your RSI is still high in Apple. IV low in Amazon, a little bit elevated in Apple. You got a pullback in Amazon. Or Apple keeps on climbing. So let's see the overall juxtaposition of these two stocks and how they correlate with the overall market as we go into this last month of May in here on a shortened week. So let's see what happens in here on the week, guys. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.